Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is the Flip the Classroom webinar, highlighting the CADD community and looking at different ways to help you have a more efficient and interactive classroom for your design students, especially looking at Autodesk products. We have a couple people still trickling in here, but I will go ahead and get started, and I will start out first off by introducing myself. My name is Andrea Hart. I am the online training specialist here at CADD Microsystems. I actually work for a company called Global eTraining, who we will be covering a little more information on shortly. I work directly within CADD Microsystems, who is an Autodesk Platinum partner, and I am especially dedicated to our CADD community online training platform and help organizations and institutions work with their employees, their administrators, and their students in implementing a successful design education program. So looking at our agenda for today, as you hopefully know from looking through the invite and reading through the details of this webinar, we are going to be talking about flipping your classroom and how you can keep up-to-date information and curriculum available for your students and your faculty to make them, once again, more efficient and more interactive as they are attending classes. So we're going to first start out by highlighting what it means to flip the classroom. Make sure you have a good understanding of really what that is about. I'm going to give you some background not only about the CADD community, but about CADD Microsystems as a whole, as well as their partnership with Global eTraining. Then we'll dig a little more into that flipped classroom and talk about how the CADD community works with that whole curriculum and theorem. And then I'm going to really jump in and show you the live training portal in action so that you can see how that can be used not only by the students, but by faculty and instructors to really make sure that all students are getting the most out of their design courses. So we expect this to take right about an hour, so we should be wrapping up by 3:30 p.m. Some quick housekeeping items. This is a webinar session, so all of the attendees are muted and will be muted for the duration of the webinar. Now we do have two ways that you can ask me questions. In your GoToWebinar dashboard, you should see two boxes, one labeled question and another labeled chat. I can see anything that you type into those. You can send it to me personally, or you can ask the question publicly to all the different attendees here. So you can just go into that question box, type your question in there. I will be addressing any questions at the end of the webinar. If something comes up while I'm in the portal, while we're talking about it, and I can address it at the time, I will most certainly do that. And then if we run into the 3:30, then I will follow up with you individually for any questions. So once again, thanks again for joining us, and let's get to talking about Flip the Classroom. Now the origin of this program is really very far-reaching. This has been around for about 5 or 10 years, and a lot of different educational institutions are using this. Now looking at some of the challenges and needs that we've heard different educational clients really voice with us, the reason that we chose to really start working with these educational institutions is because a lot of people have told us that they struggle with creating content for their classes, whether it be technical for Autodesk, very specifically focused on that today, but having curriculum ready either to update anything you may have or provide you curriculum, especially for part-time faculty that may not have the ability to constantly update that or create the materials on their own. One great thing that we're going to be looking at is really the monitoring ability for all instructors and faculty. So whether you're looking for student activity to make sure they're completing the assignments and tasks that you had given to them, or if you're doing it more on a progress type basis, just to see how often they're going into certain lessons, where they may have areas of opportunity and need follow-up teaching in or out of the classroom. You can see it both from sort of a keeping track perspective as well as a knowing where to do follow-up coaching. On top of that curriculum and content that we create, we also have exercises and data sets so that your students can apply practical examples so that when they do get into the workforce, they know exactly how to implement that in projects. And then most of all, what people were telling us was that having that in the classroom instruction isn't always enough, and they want to have resources for students, whether it be content, demonstrations, exercises, or help desk support when you're out of the classroom. So we will be addressing all of these, and I'll show you how our Flip the Classroom program will help with that. So getting to know who we are. At CADD Microsystems, we are one of the original Autodesk Platinum partners, and that is a distinction earned by our customer service and our full offering of services and solutions to design firms and, just like you, educational institutions. We have been an Autodesk authorized training center way since we were founded over 25 years ago. So really what we have focused on for both our educational institutions as well as the corporations that we work with is helping teach employees and students how to get the most out of their Autodesk software. So realizing that people have a need for that education and training, we do offer classroom teaching as well as on-site consulting. Now, in the past 5 or 10 years, a lot of people have been asking for online training, having a much more adaptable way to deliver information to their students and employees and make it a lot easier for them to access this helpful coaching and instruction. So realizing that there really was that need for online training, CADD Microsystems went out and looked for a solution for their customers. They looked at all the different online training providers that were out there and chose to partner with Global eTraining. So Global eTraining is actually a subset of Digital School, which is a licensed college and Autodesk training center located in Canada. They are actually the first example of flipping the classroom. Global eTraining itself was created as a solution for their students, for all the different individuals who are taking classes at their college who needed that online solution. So really flipping the classroom is how Global eTraining came to be, and is a very natural solution for other institutions and colleges as well as high schools and community colleges as well. So one great thing about Global eTraining and CADD Microsystems, with this partnership, they've come together to create the CADD Community Portal. So with this, you get the combined expertise of both organizations. Together, that's over 50 years of practice and implementation in all of these teachings. So what we have in here is very professionally made content going into the technical needs that you would need for Autodesk software, and then touching on common problems that our customers run into when they are working on projects in their everyday life. So we will get into this CADD Community Portal so you can see exactly how this will work for both the students and the instructors. But first, I want to talk about flipping the classroom for any of you who may not know what that is. So in the traditional classroom, as hopefully many of you are very familiar with, the traditional way that people have taught is that you have lectures while students are in the class, and then when they go home, you give them homework assignments to actually practice all of that learning. What the flipped classroom does is it leverages online technology for pre- and post-course work. And then in the classroom itself, that's when people really do those activities. What would normally be assigned as homework, having those exercises there so that you have an instructor or a professor on hand who is able to watch you go through this work and really help you out. So instead of just listening to a teacher and then trying it out at home when you don't have that support, this is really encouraging more interaction with those teachers, professors, instructors, and allowing students to really become more effective with how they're learning, especially design software that really requires that hands-on type activity. So some of the reasons that many of our clients have said that they have implemented the flip the classroom model is that you get more of that one-on-one technical time with instructors. As I said, instead of being home alone doing the exercises, and if you get stuck having to wait till you're in the classroom again, you're able to have the teacher there and help you over any bumps in the road while you're working through it. By having all of the content and curriculum available for students to study before or after class online, students can really go through at a pace that is comfortable for them. When you're teaching in a classroom, there are always students that are maybe dragging behind and others that may be bored because they feel that they're already ahead of that. This lets the student take control and really move at the pace that is most comfortable for them. With that, it does encourage the mastery learning because they aren't sitting there either feeling lost or feeling too far ahead. They're able to take on their own education and really empower them to go above and beyond, once again, moving at that pace that's comfortable. This can help address absenteeism. As we will be looking at towards the end, we do have a full administrative portal that will let you know each and every activity that the student does within the platform. So if you have any type of requirements for quizzes, tests, or moving through the course, moving sort of with number 5 is that it is a great diagnostic tool so that you can have full visibility into everything that your students are doing. Once again, having the activities done in the classroom, it's really encouraging more collaboration and teamwork, which is exactly what they're going to be running into when they get into the field. So you're involving others, you're having students teach students, knowing that they have the instructor, professor, teacher there for when they have questions, but really helping them empower themselves and work with others like they will be doing. So looking at how this is really laid out, as I said, it sort of flips the classroom on its head. That's the name. So instead of lecturing in the class and assigning homework activities, before the course starts, that's when you're going to have students going through the materials. All of the curriculum we'll be exploring together, but you can have them jump in and learn about the topics before they get to the class, before you're going to be doing activities with them. We also have assessment tests that can be taken before the classwork is gone through. So if you're trying to see how competent they are and what they need to study, you can assess that beforehand, as well as afterwards. We have those progress tests to see and verify that they retain that information. Once again, on that administrative portal, everything that they do is completely visible to any faculty member, any administrator that would like to see. We can set that up in tiers so that you can see your class, or a director would be able to see everyone as a whole. Now, in the classroom, that's really where we encourage the hands-on aspects. So we have exercises that the students can work on. We provide data sets for you. So these are very practical exercises with real-world situations that they're going to be running into. We have also a plugin that goes within the software. So if you're using Revit or AutoCAD, if that's what you're teaching in the class, we actually have a tool that we will be exploring together so that you can see any type of demonstration video or helpful content to make sure that they are really performing that task effectively. And we also have demonstration videos. So if you aren't able, or if they want to look at it before or after the course, we have recorded videos of Autodesk instructors walking through all the picks and clicks necessary to complete an action. And then as a takeaway, we have this training available on demand. It is accessible anywhere with internet connection. So it's not installed on a machine. They don't have to go to the computer lab to access that. They can get it on their smartphone, their tablet, their laptop. They are able to take away all that information, and they don't have to carry it around in a book. And what's great about that is that they have access to it before, after, and during the class. They can have access for a year or more. So once the class is done, if they want to keep practicing this as they're looking for internships and getting ready to get placed in jobs, they don't have to worry about selling that textbook back to the bookstore. They have all those resources available to them, and they can access it, once again, anytime, anywhere, any device. We also have an instructor help desk. This is staffed by certified Autodesk instructors. So in the middle of the night, if they have questions, they can't come to your office hours at that time. They can submit a question to our Autodesk instructors, and we can respond to them and help them work through that so that they're prepared and able to keep moving on before they return to the class. So how does this look for the instructors? This allows you to be a lot more efficient. With these ready-made materials, you're not worrying about creating exercises or outlines for what you're going to be learning in the class. We already provide all that information for you. We also have newer versions, so you're not having to worry about keeping up to date with the newest 2017 version of Revit. All of that is ready-made for you, and anything that is updated or changed is automatically loaded into their portal, so they don't have to worry about buying new materials or books for this. It allows you to really give them more of that project experience. As I said, in the classroom, they're going to be doing activities. You can have that hands-on nature, and they can be collaborating with other students so that it really is more like a real-world environment. And once again, it really assists those students to learn at their own pace so that you aren't holding the class back for one student. They can all move at whatever speed is most comfortable for them. So as we look through the courses, I'll show you how everything is laid out in a logical, sequential order. So as you're planning these lessons, you can go through in that order, which is the same that we would teach it in a classroom. So you match the content to what you are wanting to teach in your syllabus, and for each of those, we help work with you to plan what would be appropriate for the pre-work, which would be usually the text content, the multimedia tools within the classroom, which, as again, we will be exploring, the plugin for the Autodesk software, as well as the demonstration videos and the exercises. And again, that resource takeaway, having the content that they can continually access and having those progress tests and quizzes so that you can see how your students are progressing. And again, at the end, we have that support for you. We have the curriculum that's always going to be updated. We have the demonstration so that they can watch it even when you're not there. And we have those assignments to allow them to really make sure that the information is being transferred to them and that they're really able to apply that rather than having it go in one ear and out the other. So one thing that is very important about the way this portal is set up is that it is very specifically designed to cater to the same learning styles that instructors and teachers really work on when they're in the classroom. Not everyone can learn by watching a video. Some people really don't like listening to lectures. Everyone has their own learning style, and we really try and respect that and cater to that in the online training portal. A lot of times these design students are very hands-on kinesthetic learners, and that's really where we focus on those video demonstrations and exercises to make sure they're not just going through the information, but really able to apply it. So as you'll see when we jump into the portal and look at a live course, all of the classes are laid out so that the students can move at their own pace. The class doesn't advance until they move it forward. And we have all these little interactive boxes, including tips and tricks, advanced content, image associations. So if they're not in the software, they're still building what it's going to be looking like. And once again, for those really hands-on learners to make sure they're absorbing it, the demonstration videos and the exercises that are going to allow them to practice and ensure that they know how to recreate all those steps. I know I mentioned it before, but I do just want to reiterate, this is not stuck on a machine, it's not stuck on the computer lab. Anywhere that they have internet access, any time of day, or usually night for students, they can access all of this training content as many times as they'd like. So jumping into the portal itself, there are a few different types of course options. Now, each student will get their own username and password, and that will help administrators, teachers in tracking their progress and activity. As they get into the portal, we do have a few different resources for them. The content by industry is great if they're not sure exactly what they want to learn. Maybe they're trying to really improve themselves on a Thursday night and have already finished their homework. They can jump through the architecture section and see anything that they want to get information on. We do have access to our blog, which we update almost daily. So these are nice little tips and tricks and can give them great insight into the types of issues that people may be running into in the real working environment. Now, as I said, you do have two options with the type of content you get. Not only do you have the global eTraining courses, but you have the CADD microsystems content that is created by our application specialists based on consulting and in-class training that we do with our employees. We also have a My Company You section. This can be very useful for you if you have your own teaching materials. If you're incorporating anything that you've already put together for your students, you can host that on this site. So instead of having to email it out or hoping that they go online to Blackboard and download it, you can have everything hosted in that My Company section. And just like I mentioned, all the courses and activity are trackable through the administrative portal. Anything that you store on there for them, they can access through there, and you can see when they pull that up. So as I said, there are two different types of curriculum. We have the CADD microsystems content that is more tips and tricks, tutorials. We have recorded webinars, many that we host throughout the week, that they can run through these. These are about an hour long, And each one of these come with a very detailed description of what the course or the content is going to be. So you can assign these to students based on what is needed in that class. Each individual section is specifically labeled so that they can jump around. It does not have to be locked into a particular order. So if they are using this as a quick reference, if they're jumping around to study for an exam or really work towards that graduation and getting ready for the real world, they can go to whatever is most relevant at the time. We are able to lock in our courses, so if you do not want them progressing beyond any point before they complete that first section, that is an option for you. But all of this CADD community content is available on top of what is already made available in the Autodesk Technical Library. In the Global eTraining courses, that is where the bulk of the intense technical training is going to be. We do have Microsoft courses as well as Bluebeam. We have a BIM library. But really where that bread and butter is the Autodesk library. Now because they never know exactly what version they might be working on, or maybe once they do get placed, they'll be working on a few different versions, we do give them access to all the different years of software. So if you still have 2014 installed, they can learn exactly how to do that, all the way up to the new 2017 version. Getting into the courses themselves, we do have a wide library really covering all the different flavors of AutoCAD and Revit depending on really where your course is focused. So if you are teaching an AutoCAD course, there are many different routes they can go down. They can look at 2D, 3D, looking at the different disciplines between architecture or electrical, and we even have advanced courses. So depending on the class, you will receive access to this full library. So you can provide them teaching on what is specific for that week or that month. But they also have the ability to learn these other items if they would like to. We do have Maya courses in here, which is one of the most fun and really popular items now for that late night and weekend learning, in case anyone wants to have that in their arsenal. We will look at a full listing of the library shortly, but as you can see, if Autodesk makes it, we probably have a class on it. So today we will be looking at the Revit Architecture course. This course, just for Revit Architecture, is 55 hours worth of content. The first thing we run through for all of our courses are the new features. So once again, if you are yourself learning the upgraded version, or if you have your students working on different versions of the software, you can get a quick refresher on just what has changed. The layout for this is done in the same order as I had said that we would teach it in a classroom. So it's really progressing them through in that logical sequence. For any students you have that might be looking to get their certification before they start applying for jobs, in our courses you can see a little exclamation mark, and that means that that topic is covered on the corresponding Autodesk certification. So if they're trying to cram really quick for that exam, if they go through any of those sections, then they would have covered all the different materials that they need. Now, as I said, we do have quizzes and progress tests. So those can be used in two different ways. We do have a section which only has the quizzes and tests. So if you're just wanting to see and assess what they do and don't know, you can run them just through that quiz-only section. But really, we're trying to encourage learning and trying to make them get the answers to questions, not just see how they're doing. So the quizzes and the tests are mixed within the topics. The quiz will cover the topic above it. The progress test covers anything above there. So if they're using this to find out what they need more coaching on, if they do not do well on this quiz, they know to go to the topic right above it. Same with the test. If they do not perform well, they go to the topic above that. Getting into the quizzes and tests that are pre-made for you, the student can go through. They are a combination of multiple choice, true or false, select all that apply. This will tell them immediately whether they got the question right or wrong. So if they're trying to really see how they're doing and whether they need to go through that section, it's going to provide them that coaching immediately. Obviously, for true and false, if you get it wrong, it's pretty obvious which one is the correct answer. But especially for those multiple choice and select all that apply questions, if you do not get that correct, then it will provide you with the answer that is right. And the student submits the quiz, it gives them a score, and they can choose to move on or close activity and go through the corresponding section. As I said, any activity that goes on in here can be trackable. So from that administrative portal, when I refresh this here, I see me, Andrea Hart, in the Revit Architecture course. I can click into my section here and see any of the sections that I've completed and how I did on these progress tests and quizzes. It narrows down all the way to which questions were answered correctly or incorrectly. And all of this information obviously can be drilled down to each individual, but we have reports that can be scheduled, they can be exported, they can be emailed to you directly. So whether you're looking at overall activity within the courses, or like this, drilling down to how many people in your class got a certain question wrong or right, and if they did get it wrong, what did they answer? All of those reports are made available for you so that you can really implement any follow-up coaching you may need after that. So in the courses themselves, I will go ahead and open up the Creating Architecture Walls section. There is a subtopic option that the students can go through. They can either mouse through the course to progress forward, or once again open up that menu to jump to the topic that's most relevant. As I said, it doesn't move forward unless I'm actually clicking the button here. So this makes sure that they're moving at that pace where they're really comfortable learning. Anything that is written in text has audio narration. And specify its problem. If they are more of a reader than a listener, they can mute that and they would be able to read through the text. But once again, really trying to engage all the different learning styles available. So looking through here, we have the text that's going to go through the main heart of the content. We have image associations that you can choose from the side or click on the green bolded word. And if they do not have the software open in the class, or if they don't have access to it on their personal laptop, it's giving them screenshots of what it looks like so that they can already start familiarizing themselves with that layout. We do have tips that will give them shortcuts or additional information for how to best access or use that tool. Continuing to move forward, we have Learn More content, which are little advanced topics on top of that topic that they can progress through. Once again, anything that is in text is also audio narrated. The interior walls are used as so they can listen to it if that is what works best for them. Now we do have the demonstration videos. So opening this up, you have a certified Autodesk instructor recreating all the steps that were really touched on in that text content. These have audio narration. Taking a look at the wall tool from the architecture. For those that want to listen, you can full screen this And we also have closed captioning. So once again, if they're more of that reader than a listener, everything that the instructor is doing is going to have that closed captioning and audio narration. We have the pointer highlighted so that the student can follow along as the instructor is really recreating all those steps. So the great thing about this playlist, if you don't have the ability or time to prepare these examples or do these in the classroom, you can have these queued up for your students. For a quick reference guide, if you are going to be playing a lot of these in the classroom, we have an e-demo playlist. These demonstration videos are peppered throughout the course where it's appropriate based on the information that was shared. But if you open up this playlist, it will pull up the hundreds and hundreds of demo videos that are available within that individual course. So if you know exactly what you're going to be focusing on that day, if you want to have them reading the text content before the class and then during the class showing these demonstration videos, you can quickly pull up that playlist and have all the students go through this together. Now the other thing in here is the Let Me Try exercise playlist. And all of those, just like the e-demo videos, are peppered throughout the course where it's appropriate, usually towards the end of a lesson. So after you've had them read the text content at home before the class starts, during the class, maybe you're showing those demonstration videos or you've had them doing that while they're at home, you have the Let Me Try exercises. As I said, we do provide a data set for this, and that is downloadable within the CADD community and the courses, either at the beginning under the Download Your Data Set or in the Resources tab, and it will tell you which data set to use. This will keep instructors from having to pull that up on their own and create a whole new exercise. So this is great in two ways. Once again, it is providing those resources for you so that you aren't having to completely create those exercises from scratch. Especially for the students, I know personally I'm a step-by-step learner. This would be a great way for them to study and continue learning how to go through those actions, because it doesn't only tell you what to do and provide the data set for you to practice that, but it really does walk them through each individual step of that action to ensure that they understand all the picks and clicks necessary to go through that task. These are PDFs, so students can download these and save them and have them on hand. And you can even print them out in the classroom if you'd like to have people working together as a group. And that's a great way to make sure that they're not just checking the boxes, going through the information, but really able to apply that themselves. Just like we have the demonstration playlist, we have the exercise playlist so that you can pull up any of these exercises based on the topic. As I said, sort of correlating that with your syllabus, what you're looking to cover for that day. One of the really most efficient tools that we have that has been extremely helpful not only for our corporate employees but for students in the classroom is that we do have an add-in available for the software. So if you're teaching AutoCAD, Revit, Civil 3D, Navisworks, Plant 3D, or Inventor, for the 2015 and 2016 versions, included in this subscription, we do have this Global eTraining and CADD Community plugin. So just like you would see in the web portal, we have the full course catalog, the full outline. If you're going to be covering adding doors that day, they can open up all the demonstration videos, the exercises, as well as the full playlist. This has the same login information as their CADD Community portal. So once again, from the administrative side, you're able to see all the activity that's going on, see how many times students are accessing it, which can be a great indicator if they're looking at doors. If all of them are looking at them 3 times a day, every day, that is something that you can really see might need additional teaching during the next class. But within here, so that they aren't navigating out of the software, so they're making this more natural with the learning, all of the images, the exercises, the tips and tricks, everything that is available within the online portal is available with this plugin. Because it has the individual username and password, when that pulls up, students can install this on their home laptop if they have the student version using themselves while they are not in the class. But if you do have a computer lab set up, you can install this once for all the computers, and then it'll still keep track of each individual student's activities so that things aren't meshing together. So as I said, you can pull up the full course slide, or you can jump straight to a demonstration video through that catalog. But one of the most effective parts of this add-in, the plugin that we're looking at for Revit right now, so I said you can pull up that full catalog, but as you have students working through and you're teaching on different topics, if you're talking about columns that day and they click on column, all the training associated with that specific item on the ribbon or on the editing button will immediately be delivered to them. So especially if they aren't very familiar with the software, any activities that they do within there, this will react and bring up all the training necessary for any one of those actions. So once again, this is able for them to install on their personal laptop or to have within the classroom or computer lab, with each person logging in with their own information, and then from that administrative portal being able to see any of the activity from there. So to summarize a little more of that curriculum program, as I said, for the instructor, you get the full course outline and catalog so that you don't have to worry about creating any materials for your students. We do have the ability to create custom content. So if you want to be able to add in lessons on top of ours and intermix those in, everything that you see within these portals can be completely customized, and you can have different classes you can update each year or have available for all your different faculty members to use, not only the sort of off-the-shelf version that we have, but if you are looking for that customization. We do have that full administrative reporting so that you can see all the activity that your students are doing. We have an implementation session, so we really work with the faculty and the administrators to make sure that they understand how these courses work, how the administrative portal works, and really helping you not only get comfortable using these courses, but really showing the students how to be most successful within this portal. And just like we have the help desk support for the students, we have help desk support for you as well. We do have project managers and account managers that can help make sure that you're comfortable and are getting point in the right direction and really aligning this with any syllabus or outline that you're working for. And again, for the student, they have this available to them for a year, whether it be just for Revit that you may be teaching in that class, or if they're wanting to learn Navisworks or Maya or AutoCAD, they have access to over 3,000 hours of courses on the various Autodesk products, so it really helps empower them to learn what's going to be useful for them as they do transition into the workforce. All of the demonstration videos, the courses, and the exercises are available to them whenever it's most convenient, and having those practical exercises really help them learn how to collaborate and know that they have you there in the classroom when they're working on these to make it more interactive and put the learning into their hands and the activities into your hands. So once again, on that instructor reporting, whether you're looking at the administrative portal or if we're setting up reports, any activity, including attendance or participation in those courses, is fully set to be scheduled or exported. You can look at it, once again, on an individual basis or as an entire class or maybe even a full department. As you saw when I'm moving through the courses, they can't sort of hit play on a 2-hour video and let it play out, and that will check as them doing this. It really requires their interaction, their attention. So really, when you're looking at that activity, you can be confident that they have gone through that. You can see what different sections and topics people are going into, so that you can really mold your next class based on how they're performing and where they're going to get that additional instruction. And you have ongoing contact with the students. From the administrative portal, you can send messages either to individuals or classes, whether you're assigning different sections for them to work through, or if you're wanting to recognize them for their achievements and progress on those tests and quizzes, there is that ability to send out messages, either, as I said, to individuals or the entire team on the home dashboard. So for the full library, the most popular one is definitely the Autodesk library. So looking at sort of the middle line and to the left, once again, just expanding a little bit on the full offerings that we have within the Autodesk library. They do receive access to all the different versions of those, and anyone that would like a more detailed listing of these courses, as well as the full CAD microsystems library, all of that is included in the student as well as the instructor subscription. So I know we've gone through a lot, and I've covered hopefully everything that you wanted to know in terms of what is Flip the Classroom, who CAD Microsystems is, who Global eTraining is, and how this portal can help you get more interactive with your students in the class. At this time, I'm going to open it up to questions. I'm wrapping up a little early today. It's 3:18 p.m. But you have that chat box or the questions box. Once again, you can send that privately to me, or you can broadcast it to the others on the webinar. But I'm going to take about a minute or two here to let you ask any questions that you may have about the CAD community or that Flip the Classroom program at this time. I see a question here about access to the content for the instructors. That is included. So if you purchase this for your students, the teachers have full ability to view everything as well. So it's not just guessing based on the name what you're assigning to those students. You will have your own portal. All right, I do not see any other questions at this time, but I will be sticking around until 3:30 p.m. in case you do think of anything. Once again, you can put that in the chat box or in the questions box. My contact information is up here. You can email me at andrea.hart@caddmicrosystems.com. It also has my phone number as well as my email address and the overall social media information for CADD Microsystems. If you would like any additional information either about Flip the Classroom, really that initiative itself, or the CADD community, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If you would like for any of your other staff or administrators to see this platform, I do have a recording of this webinar, and I am also very open to setting up individual meetings where we can walk through this and really learn more about how your institution would really succeed with using this, and we can work on building a custom solution for you. So once again, I will be here for at least another 8 minutes. If you have any other questions, feel free to put that in the chat or question box, or you can follow up with me via phone or email. But thank you so much for joining us today. I hope this was very informative in letting you know how you can sort of reduce instructor workload and still make that classroom more interactive and more educational and put that learning into the students' hands. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon.